Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to See You Being Hunted, episode 753-ish I do believe right now. 3-ish. Is that 753 red or is it not? Well, it is, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Assuming I haven't completely misremembered and miscounted. But I hope you guys, of course, are all doing well as usual. We're back for another podcast style episode here on the Centre Island as I just try and deliver these device pieces back. Which island was I just on? The south. Helps if I actually remember which island I was just on and all that, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Now, in the meantime, here in the UK, we've got the heat wave in full swing. You know, the old summer heat wave. At one point, my thermometer in my flat was saying that apparently it was 30 degrees or something, which, granted, you know, some of you in other countries may hear that and you may think, 30 degrees? Is that it? Well, look, we're British, okay? We don't deal well with high temperatures. We are a nation of people who typically, you get us in the sun for even just a few minutes and we turn into a bunch of bright pink porkers, as we do and all that. 30 degrees is extremely hot for a British person, just saying. And having said that though, I think the weather forecast over the weekend is going to be that there's going to be a bit of potential storms. Thunderstorms, potential flash flooding in parts of the country. At least that's the warning that's been put out. Amber alert or whatever it is and all that. So we will see how that plays out. I mean, it's definitely that kind of weather where at the moment it feels very muggy and sticky. That kind of heat. Definitely that kind of heat that eventually there's going to be a thunderstorm. It's going to clear the air out. It'll be sort of, a drier, more bearable heat for a bit. And then it'll probably get muggy and humid again. It'll rinse and repeat until eventually the British summertime decides that it's had enough and then it disappears on us. Where else do we want to go? East or north? Let us head, let's have a look, let's head north since we can go that way and try and avoid that balloon in the process. No, I wasn't going to talk about the weather actually though, specifically in this episode, since that's such a mundane topic and all that. No, I was actually just reading a BBC News article just before I started recording this episode, because, I don't know, it was just curious little news. And this is just one of those typically very random topics that sometimes I get in my head and I think, kind of need to do a Surrey Being Hunted episode about that. Has anyone heard of something called Labubu? No? Yes? Anybody? I'm sure some of you have and all that. If you don't know what Labubu is, it's I think it's like a chain of toys by a Chinese manufacturer. Is it called Pop Mart or something, the manufacturer? I can't remember. I literally read the article 2 seconds ago and it's just like some of the details have just gone in one ear and out the other. But apparently it's a toy line that seems to be going viral. And I'll be honest with you, until I read that BBC News article, I'd never heard of them. Though, to be honest, I'm not surprised, because I'm not exactly the target demographic, so I shouldn't really be surprised that I've never heard of them. There's nothing quite like reading the comments on those kind of news articles where people are like, well, I've never heard of it. Yes, Kenneth, that's because you're a 55-year-old man, definitely not the sort of person who this doll is primarily marketed towards. So, that's always entertaining. But, no, genuinely I hadn't heard of them, but it was kind of funny, mainly because of the comments people were leaving on that BBC News article. The cynical comments usually either, I haven't heard of these things, or people sort of going, oh, whoever's buying this shit is stupid and all this. It's like, just leave people alone. Let them buy what they want to buy and all that. Sure, I don't get it myself, but you know what? It's their money. If they want to spend it on toys, if they are 30 years old and they want to do that, then, you know what? Let them. Just let them enjoy whatever they want to enjoy. It's not your money that they're spending, it's their own. So, stop complaining and all that. Yeah, I suppose really that's the main thing I want to say. Right, episode done and all that, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the thing is, it's like on one level I can sort of see why this thing has apparently gone viral, these Labubu toys, because they're the sort of thing that feels like it's just made to precipitate a bit of an internet debate. Because if you look at them, there's a sort of raging debate online. Are they cute, or are they just kind of a bit ugly? A bit like trolls. You remember trolls? I mean, that's going obviously right back to... Yeah, sorry. I had gas going up my throat from my tea whilst I was halfway through that sentence. You remember trolls, you know, which obviously, you know, they date back to, what, the 70s? Little plastic trolls with the crazy hair. Some people think they're cute, other people think they're just butt ugly and all that. I suppose, you know, it's that same vibe. Goes a bit of a debate. Are they cute? Are they ugly? But irrespective of what you think of them, they're also very collectible and all that. You're going to be fine if I just raid this telephone box. There we go. But I can think of actually other types of, you know, toys, things like that, back in the day, that definitely had their moments where they went, you know, viral, or at least they were very popular. Remember when I was a teenager, there was a thing, it was all like Scoobies, what were they called? Remember those ones? They were a weird one that went popular. Does Furby also count? I think Furby also counts, doesn't it? That was like a thing that everybody was fucking talking about back in the day, in the 90s, when they first came out and all that. So, this whole kind of trend like that isn't new. It predates the internet. And so, I think you'll always get those kind of naysayers, whether online or offline, who are like, I don't get it. People who subscribe to this trend are all dumb and all that. And sure, you know, I mean, if you're just buying them because a celebrity you follow is buying them, or an influencer, then, you know, sure, maybe there's something that can be said there about, you know, what's the purpose of these things? If, you know, are you buying them because you actually like them? Or are you buying them not really thinking that maybe, you know, a couple of years down the line they get thrown out? Because that's the thing, you know. That's the only thing with viral stuff, when it goes popular. You think sometimes about, like, the environmental impact, potentially. Especially if it's like a plastic product, and suddenly everybody and their freaking dog wants one. And, you know, before you know it, everyone buys them, and a couple of years later they're out of fashion, they're no longer trending, and a load of them just end up in landfill or wherever. So hopefully that is not the case with Labubu and all that, though the cynical part of me says it probably will be the case with them. That is where they will ultimately end up. But hopefully I am proven wrong, because I kind of don't want to be right about that, and all that, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, anybody out there who loves a good Labubu? Any Labubu fans among the audience? Anybody who loves Labubu but previously wasn't a member of my audience and is now just stumbling across this video because it's got Labubu in the title, no doubt, and therefore the YouTube algorithms are like, ooh, Labubu. Here you go. If you're interested in Labubu, then this video might be for you. Actually, I come to think of it, the thing I did read in the BBC News article was that possibly part of the reason Labubu got popular was because in shops in China, when it was originally being sold, apparently it was being sold in sort of almost like kind of real-life loot boxes, i.e. you buy a box not knowing what was in it, and you get a Labubu of some kind. So I guess it kind of actually, you know, it kind of, yeah, feels like it is very much designed as a viral trend then in that case, doesn't it? It's the same thing with, you know, loot boxes in the gaming world. And of course, like, not just loot boxes in the gaming world, but we can think of other examples. Like, you go on, like, kids' YouTube, for example, and you look for apparently like Kinder Egg opening videos. There's fucking masses of them from what I've heard. I haven't watched any myself, but I remember seeing a TED video by a journalist and activist who was talking about, you know, the dangers of the way we're constructing the internet and what it's doing to childhood brains, that kind of thing. And he used Kinder Egg surprise videos as a way of illustrating the point. But it's the same kind of thing in terms of, you know, all of those things have this one thing in common, which is this kind of anticipation, this build-up, and then this little dopamine hit. As you know, the box, or the egg, or whatever is opened, and the surprise within is revealed. I'm making these big hand gestures with one hand as I play. You know, as I open the thing, I'm like gesturing with one hand. I don't know why I'm doing that. This isn't a facecam video, you can't see me. What the heck am I playing at? Where are you going? He's like, oh shit, I heard of the Labubu. Has somebody got Labubu over here, or Kinder Eggs? Oh, I love that shit. Show me where the Kinder Eggs are at. I love gambling for some Labubus. But that's what it kind of is, isn't it? You know, Kinder Egg, Kinder Egg opening videos, that kind of thing. Labubu boxes. It's almost, not quite, but almost a bit like gambling for children. It's gambling for children. Anything to make a buck, eh? Ladies and gents. You know, I'm sort of conscious, as I sort of was saying before, about all the sort of negative comments you see on places like the BBC News article. People going, oh, what's the point of this crap? Who buys this shit? If you buy the shit, you're dumb and all that. Part of the reason, I suppose, why I'm kind of a bit defensive, not because I like Labubu or anything, but because I feel like I can sort of, you know, empathise in the sense of when I look at my friggin' cabinet beside my computer and I see my Kaide Akamatsu anime PVC figure standing in it. I just look at that and I think, you know, they probably say the same thing about me with that. And to be honest, you know what? When I bought that PVC figure, I can't say I ever thought about what would happen to it eventually. I was looking at it for months, though. It wasn't a spur-of-the-month decision to buy that. I was looking at it for months, sort of on and off, thinking, shall I, shan't I? Well, if I was to buy it, where would I put it? What would I do with it? In the end, I don't know, I just thought, fuck it, I want to make my own little geek cave. It's my money. And do what I want with it. Exactly. God, this is sounding like me being weirdly defensive all of a sudden, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? I feel like I've been called out by a bunch of random comments on a BBC Have Your Say comment section on Labubu toys, of all things. Ah, dearie me. Look, I'm sure you have things of your own, ladies and gentlemen, that other people would probably criticise you for. Shut the fuck up, you. What the fuck are you doing up there? It's not the first time I think we've seen robots spawning on top of buildings before in this game. In fact, I think the farmstead. I feel like we've seen robots spawning on top of that particular building before in this long-winded series of mine. When was the last time we saw that, though? It's got to be like over 100 episodes ago or something like that. Something like that, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Well, there's fucking hunters everywhere, of course there are. Maybe what I need to do is not go near the hunters instead. See if I can locate anything else of interest. Haven't seen any device pieces yet. I should probably think of another challenge to do at some point. Something interesting. Come on, Phil, if you're watching, get racking them brains of yours for something random that I can then spin out into a challenge. No matter how zany it might be, just let me know what your ideas are. In fact, you viewers as well, let me know what your ideas are. Tell me, hit me up. Show me them ideas of yours. And that way I can take it, I can completely change all the rules to suit my own ends, and then just very quickly give you a very brief credit. As though you're the original thinker for what I have taken from you and then completely changed. No one's going to do it now that I've said that, are they, ladies and gentlemen? Alright, we're looking at time. I think that'll probably do for an episode. It's just a quickie, that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Something just to fill up the upload schedule. Because the thing is, there's going to be a couple of days, actually, which by the time this video goes out, they'll have already been and passed, but there's going to be a couple of days in June when I'm away. And so, as a result, not going to be any uploads. So I'm going to need to kind of just record a few things for the queue, so that when I get back, I've already got a few things uploaded and ready to go. And this can be one of them, just a quick So You're Being Hunted filler episode and all that. Alright, social media links, propagandist channel link, etc, etc, as usual, down in the video description for anyone interested. If you enjoyed, a like is of course always appreciated and all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about anything I whittered on about in that video. Not that anyone ever does, because I don't get that kind of engagement that much on my server videos anymore. Alright, goodbye everybody. Oh, there you go, that's how you take it down, with a freaking Gatling leap, get its armour off. Doing so much damage to them. Oh god, get out of here, you mage. Oh boy, already I'm liking this. Okay, this is another dude who we have to basically take down with our Gatling gun. Or rather with our thrust. Ow. Get out of here. Oh, a freaking war cry, eh? Here's a little lizard dudes. I forgot the name of the dev who makes this. Or who made it, rather. But this a-hole up here. Oh god. Get out of it. And you. Look at this douchebag who's just sort of prancing around up there, being a bit of a weirdo. And whoosh! That's it. We're getting him. We're getting him. We're getting him. We're getting him. No, you don't. Oh.